Hello and welcome to this course in Global English, Unit 37. We are in speaking module, Unit number 3. Today, we are going to talk about a unique feature of spoken English. Many people call it phrasal pause or pause within the sentence. There are many languages in the world that take an audible pause, a clearly visible, noticeable pause at the end of a sentence before they begin another sentence. This pause may be of a very short duration. It may be 1 second, 2 seconds or even fraction of a second, but that pause is there, so that besides with the help of the knowledge of grammar that we have, the manner of speaking, the pause also tells us that this is the end of a sentence and now begins the new sentence, the next sentence. Okay? But English is among those few languages that take a pause of course of a shorter duration than taken at the end of the sentence. So, they take a short pause also at the end of a phrase, okay, and at the end of every phrase. If the phrase is of very short nature, then at the end of a clause, and if that is also very short, then at the end of the sentence. But usually English takes a pause after every few words, after every 3-4 words of a very short duration, of course. It so happens that those 3-4 words, 3 or 4 words make a phrase. In this unit today, we will talk about what a phrase is, how we pause there. We will also give you a demo of how one sounds without the pause and how much and how a lot better one sounds with pause in their speech, and then of course, we will have material for practice. Let us see. As I said, in many languages, we pause at the end of a sentence, even in Hindi. किसी ज़माने में एक राजा था, उसकी 3 बेटियां थीं, बड़ी का नाम वसंत ऋतु था, सबसे छोटी का नाम वर्षा था, बीच वाले का क्या नाम रखते, ग्रीष्म या शीत. So, there is pause at the end of every sentence, even in Hindi. But in English, the pause comes also within the sentence. If the same story were to be told in English, it would go like the following. Once upon a time, there was a king. The king had 3 daughters. The eldest was called Spring. The youngest was called Rains. But the king did not know how to name the second daughter. Calling her summer would make her unpleasant. Calling her winter would make her unpleasant. In English, you see that we pause within the sentence. In Hindi, we don't. In Hindi, we say in one continuous stretch. किसी ज़माने में एक राजा था. In English, we do not say once upon a time there was a king. In English, in standard English, the format is to say once upon a time there was a king. Okay, like this, once upon a time, and this indicates pause, a break at the end of words. Upon a time, there was a king, and then double cross to indicate the end of a sentence. So, every language has a pause at the end of a sentence, or almost every language, okay. But English is among those few languages that take a pause even within the sentence, at the end of a phrase, a clause. Let's see, as I said here, once upon a time there was a mighty king who loved his people like his children. You in English, in standard English, you don't really speak it in one go. Once upon a time there was a mighty king who loved his people like his children. No, that is not standard, and that does not help you understand and be understood by people not sharing your accent of English. And since we learn English to speak to people from all over the world, it is very important that we must also learn how to speak with pauses within the word. Similarly, look at the next conversation. So, so is an adverb, we will talk about it. So, coming back to the story, in this group of cousins and friends, some people attained parenthood and shared the good news and exchanged mails and photos of their babies, of their spouses and themselves, together and or singly. Actually, I could have given a pause here as well. Together and or singly, individually, and in different lengths of fabrics, covering increasingly more of fewer inches of their bodies, etc. They said wow and great and cool and hot, etc. There should be double cross here. Indicating the end of a sentence. Wow seems to have become the most frequently used word in the English language. Okay? This is an opinion. You don't have to take that opinion seriously. But the point here is that we pause after every phrase and clause. The phrase may be very small, one word phrase, such as so, which is the adverb of manner. Okay? Adverb of cause. Adverbs give you manner, purpose, time, place, cause. Okay? So, it may be the adverb of manner or adverb of purpose, but it is a phrase by itself, it is a clause by itself. So, coming back to the story. Now, coming back to the story has 5 words. So, you paused after even one word and you pause after 5 words. The principle is not how many, you pause after a certain number of words. The principle is you pause after every phrase. If the phrase is very small, then you can skip it, you can move on, or you may pause. Even if it has only one word, doesn't matter, you can still pause there, because then it gives the meaning very clearly. Okay? So, that is what we mean by phrasal pause, pause at the end of a phrase. You can also practice and see what a great fun it is. What is a phrase after all? You can look up a good grammar of English, or you can go to the net and look up the sites which give you this definition. You may find some differences between the definition I have given you here and there, but essentially it means that a phrase is one or more words behaving together like one unit, okay? Such as a subject or even one word can be a subject. I can do it. I am not interested. I do not like it. Okay, I do not like wars. So here I, only one word, is also a phrase. It's subject phrase. It's a noun phrase. Working like a subject. I do not like wars. Now wars is also a phrase, one word phrase. It works like an object. It's an object phrase. Okay. So maybe one word, maybe more words. Okay. But it works like one unit, either subject or object, or either as noun phrase or verb phrase or adjectival phrase or adverbial phrase or a prepositional phrase. Look at some examples. A noun phrase, one word, say for example, king likes gardens. Fine, king is one word, it's also one phrase because it works like a subject. But you can have more than one word. You can say a king likes a garden. You can have 3 word, 4 word phrase, the king of Bollywood, okay? A king of a kingdom, a king of a young age, okay? The new king of Bollywood, 5 words or more. The youthful new king of Bollywood, then within one phrase you will have pause if it has so many words. So the youthful, one set of adjectives, new king of Bollywood, another set of adjectives. Or you can say, I should have put a pause marker here as well. The youthful new king of Bollywood, the new scholar king of all the new studios in Bollywood. You can make a phrase as large or as small as you like, but not smaller than one word. Sometimes yes, smaller than one word, 0, not articulated, but then there is no question of pause after something which has not been spoken. Okay. So a noun phrase can have only one word, a one noun, or it can have many other words working together like a noun. Okay. So whether we say king likes garden or we say the new scholar king of all the new studios in Bollywood likes the garden, it's the same thing. Similarly, there can be verb phrase. You can have one word, one verb phrase such as is. Okay. The king is waiting. Or you can have 2 word verb phrase, auxiliary verb and main verb, or helping verb and principal verb. So you can say the king is buying a garden or the king is buying some roses, or 3 word, the king has been buying, or more than 3, has been being cheated. Every time he bought what he thought was a rose, he was given a plastic rose. So the king has been being cheated. So has been being cheated is a verb phrase which behaves like one verb. Similarly, there can be adjectival phrase, a one word or many words. So big is an adjective. A big is also an adjective. A very big is also an adjective. A very well planned and big is also an adjective. A very well planned, costly and big garden of roses of many colors. Okay? And then after roses, whatever we have also modifies the noun. So that is also an adjective phrase. So a very well planned, costly and big garden of roses of many colors. So a very well planned, costly and big up to this point is all functioning like one adjective, big garden. Okay. And then it can have adjectives also after the main noun which it qualifies. So in jargon people call it pre-head modifier, that is Head is a noun phrase, a noun, and the adjectives before, all the adjectives here. They modify, so it is called pre-head modifier, and then there is post-head modifier, okay, of roses of many colors, right. So, a phrase is one word or more words behaving like one word in a sentence, functioning like one word in a sentence, and that is why in English you have a pause after that phrase. But if the phrase is big, then you can have a pause even within the phrase, just as we saw here, a very well planned, costly and big garden of roses of many colors. So, you have a pause here, a very well planned, costly and big garden, or you can simply say costly and big garden, then you can say of roses of many colors, and then you can close it. All right. So, a phrase is one or more words behaving like one unit and followed by a pause. Let us go to the next slide. Similarly, adverbial phrase, as I said, adverbs show these things. An adverb shows manner, purpose, cause, time, place. So, for instance, if you say John walks slowly, then slowly is an adverb of manner. Okay. John walks to work, so it is a place marker, or you can say it is also a purpose marker. Or similarly, John walks to office every morning at 9 o'clock. So, every morning at 9 o'clock is the time marking adverb. Like that, you can go on. Same thing here. You can have one or two word adverbs, like at night. You can have 3 words at late night. You can have more than 3. After, alone, after dinner. John likes to walk alone after dinner, late at night. Okay. Or still longer, John likes to walk alone after dinner, a little disturbed but unhurried, very much late at night. Okay. So, it is not the number of words that matters. If the phrase is big, there can be a pause within the phrase, but every few words there is a pause, and pause is dictated more primarily by the category of the word. Is it a noun? Is it a verb? Does it together make one unit? Okay, etc. So, with the prepositional phrase, that preposition and then it is followed by other nouns is called prepositional phrase. So, you have in the morning, after breakfast, in the morning, after prayers, but before breakfast, in the morning. So, there are 3 prepositional phrases here. One is after prayers, before breakfast, in the morning. Okay. Just say in this sentence how, and you can also try. The new scholar king of all the new studios in Bollywood. The new scholar king of all the new studios in Bollywood has been being cheated in trying to buy a very well planned, costly and big garden of roses. We can have a comma and a pause here. very well planned, costly, and big garden of roses of many colors. An adjectival phrase. Then again come to prepositional phrase. That closes prepositional phrase, which began with in trying and now begins adverbial phrase, where, a place. He would walk alone after dinner, a little disturbed but unhurried, very much late at night. You can try marking the stresses here, doing practice here. Okay. For practice, I have given you another passage, two passages. Take a look and mark pauses there. Okay. Just in the manner as I showed, after every phrase, or if you so like, if the phrase is long, then after every few words. I am going to play an audio recording where you will hear the same speaker twice. Once the speaker speaks without necessarily pausing at the end of a phrase, and the same speaker the second time necessarily pauses at the end of every phrase. Okay? Listen and decide for yourself which you like more, the one with pauses or the other without pauses. But first listen to the one without pauses.
My name is Vijay Reddy. My roll number is 91-234. My branch is mechanical. My mother tongue is Telugu. Age is 20. And I have elected this course because language is a powerful way of communication. And for one to be successful, you need better communication skills, and you can enjoy doing that. I have needed some new bookshelves for a long time. So during my holiday, I decided to tackle the job myself. Not that I am very clever with my hands, but it did not seem too difficult. And as I had already said that we could not afford to go away, I thought it would be prudent not to spend money having it done professionally. I bought the wood at the local handicraft shop and had been left behind by the previous owner of the house. It was not good enough and I decided to buy a new one. That was my first mistake. My second one was to go to the biggest ironmonger in London and ask for a saw. You would think it was simple, wouldn't you, to buy a saw, but it's not.
Serenity. I am Vijay Ganesh Reddy. My roll number is ME91234. I am studying mechanical engineering. My mother tongue is Telugu. I am 20. The medium of English is more important than the medium of writing. The medium of speech is more important than the medium of writing. English is spoken as mother tongue by most people in Australia, Canada, New Zealand, etc. And most importantly, better spoken English serves as an excellent opportunity to taste success in this competitive world. Passage. I said to the man behind the counter, I want a saw. He was a nice man and did his best for me. Yes, sir, but we have 15 different kinds for different jobs. What did you want it for? I explained about my bookshelves and felt like an ignorant fool in a world of experts, which was true. He saw that I was a novice and was very kind. He told me what I should need and advised me to have a lady's size. Easier to manage for the beginner, sir. He was not being nasty, just helpful, and I was grateful to him. He also sold me a book on woodwork for schoolboys, and I have been reading it with great interest. The next time on the shelves.
The difference between the two recordings of the same speaker is significant. We cannot stop noticing the difference between the same speaker first speaking in any random manner, and in the second episode, the second half of the recording, when the speaker does so with regular pauses at the end of words and phrases, the total effect and comprehensibility both go up. That is English. That is standard English. Actually, you can rewind and listen and also make.
My name is Vijay-N. My roll number is 91-234. My branch is mechanical. My mother tongue is Telugu. Age is 20. And I have elected this course because
the way the roll number is said, the way the names are said, nothing quite systematic there. Okay.
because language is a powerful way of communication, and for one
Hesitations, not regular pauses.
to be successful, you need better communication skills, and you can enjoy doing that. I have needed some new bookshelves for a long time, so during my holiday I decided to tackle the job myself.
The entire stretch goes in one line. I've needed some new bookshelves for some time. Okay.
Job myself. Not that I am very clever with my hands, but it did not seem too difficult, and as I had already said that we could not afford to go away, I thought it would be prudent not to spend money having it done professionally. I bought the wood at the local handicraft shop and had been left behind by the previous owner of the house.
The speaker is reading out a printed passage, and yet the speaker pauses only at the end of a sentence.
Was not good enough, and I decided to buy a new one. That was my first mistake. My second one was to go to the biggest ironmonger in London and ask for a saw. You would think it was simple, wouldn't you, to buy a saw, but it's not.
Serenity. I am Vijay Ganesh Reddy. My roll number is ME91234.
You see, regular pauses. ME91234. Okay. In groups of twos and threes, the numbers come.
I'm studying mechanical engineering. My mother tongue is Telugu.
You see, pause clearly. My mother tongue is Telugu. There's a pause within the sentence. At the end of a phrase, my mother tongue, the noun phrase, is Telugu, a verb phrase.
I'm 20. The medium of English is more important than the medium of writing. The medium of speech.
The medium of English, actually, the speaker wants to say the medium of speech, but then the speaker gets confused at that moment, and it's not printed. It is the speaker's extempore recording, okay, to a prompt. So in this second half, after the speaker has learned how to speak with pauses, you look at the difference in the speaker's confidence in his voice, the clarity of the voice, and ease of understanding.
The medium of speech is more important than the medium of writing. English is spoken as mother tongue by most people in Australia, Canada, New Zealand, etc. And most importantly, better spoken English serves as an excellent opportunity to taste success in this competitive world. Passage. I said to the man,
This is what I meant, Even if you make a mistake, if you spoke slowly with regular pauses, you are better understood. Okay? So in this case, let us see here.
I am Vijay Ganesh Reddy. My roll number is ME91234. I am studying mechanical engineering. My mother tongue is Telugu. I am 20. The medium of English is more important than the medium of writing. The medium of speech is more important than the medium of writing. English is spoken as mother tongue by most people in Australia, Canada, New Zealand, etc. And most importantly, better spoken English serves as an excellent opportunity to take.
It's not, it should have been opportunity, not opportunity. It should be
Medium of speech is more important than the medium of writing. English is spoken as mother tongue by most people in Australia.
so even when the speaker pronounces it is an opportunity rather than opportunity, because the speaker is relatively slow, speaks with pauses, there is no difficulty for the speaker being understood.
Medium of writing. The medium of speech is more important than the medium of writing. English is spoken as mother tongue by most people in Australia, Canada, New Zealand, etc. And most importantly, better spoken English serves as an excellent opportunity to taste success in this competitive world. Passage. I said to the man behind the counter, I want a saw. He was a nice man and did his best for me. Yes, sir, but we have 15 different kinds for different jobs. What did you want it for? I explained about my bookshelves and felt like an ignorant fool in a world of experts, which was true. He saw that I was a novice and was very kind. He told me what I should need and advised me to have a lady's size. Easier to manage for the beginner, sir. He was not being nasty, just helpful, and I was grateful to him. He also sold me a book on woodwork for schoolboys, and I have been reading it with great interest. The next time on the shelves.
Okay? So, speaking with regular pauses at the end of phrase, slowly in a slow tempo, that is how standard English is spoken. Okay? We have marked it here and you can see. I have needed some new bookshelves for a long time. So, during my holidays, I decided to tackle the job myself. Not that I am very clever with my hands, but it did not seem too difficult. As I had already said, I could not afford to go away. I thought it would not be prudent to spend money having it done professionally. I bought the wood at the local handicraft shop, and as the saw that had been left behind by the previous owner of the house, there could have been a pause here, left behind. By the previous owner of the house was not good enough. Okay, etc. etc. right? It's not a complete sentence. But you see the idea that behind after every phrase, and if the phrase is long, then within the phrase, at where words behave like a unit, we take a pause in English, and that makes for better comprehension, easier to speak, but then of course it requires. Similarly, when you give a talk or a public lecture, you have these things, and then you pause after every few words, particularly after every set of words where you address somebody. Say, for example, Madam Principal, Madam Head of the Department, colleagues, and dear young ladies and students. In today's session, I have never before, and then the speaker changes his mind. I have never before taught at a girls' college and have no idea of what makes one a good teacher here. I suppose the rules may be the same with some differences. So, what I'll do today is not pretend to give a talk but tell you some stories. Great literature, after all, is built on the kernel of a good story. And this is how it goes. You can also mark pauses similarly. First read aloud. Try and get them at the end of phrases, and then mark these phrases, do some practice with them, record yourself, rewind and listen to your own recording, and you will definitely within 2 weeks not only be speaking slowly, but will also be speaking with pauses, and better, with a far better results than you possibly anticipate at this stage. Okay, let's go. So you pause after every phrase. You also pause after a few other things. You pause after a clause. If, within a sentence there can be a sentence, such as this: where there is will, that is one clause. There is way, that is the second clause. Together they make a sentence. So you don't, in standard English you do not really say where there is will there is way. No. In standard English you say where there is will there is way. There is a way. There is a way. The students who passed the examination went on a field work trip. Then after groups of numbers, you have telephone numbers, postal code numbers, your own social ID card number, etc. And you speak those numbers also in groups. It's not ideally good to say that my telephone number is 944400183 No, it is better to say my phone number is 94440018. Okay. So with other pair, it is best to go in pairs or in threes. What is the postal code? My postal code is 600036. So in twos or threes. Such as, look at the next example. The first 10 odd numbers are 1, 3, 5, 7. In this case, you are pausing after every number because every number makes a unit. But when you address somebody while talking, when you address them by name, then you say, Mr. President, what's your conclusion? Okay. After vocatives, when you address somebody, can you tell me, Professor, if we have a class this afternoon, or I'm sorry, doctor, I cannot understand this explanation of the prognosis. Like that, when you address somebody by their designation or name, you take a pause. Then you take a pause also after politeness markers, such as, go and get a chair from the next room, please. Okay, so before please there is a pause, at the end of the please of course there is the pause, because that's the end of the sentence. But even if you brought please to the middle of the sentence, say for example you could have said, go and get a chair please, go and get a chair please from the next week. Then you pause also after discourse markers, such as of course. You can say, of course this is just a personal opinion, is not a piece of cultivated research. Okay, or by all means, can I take your book away? By all means you can. Okay, so most discourse markers, of course, by all means, why not, certainly, come on, stop it. Okay, well, thus, therefore, on the contrary, however, regardless, finally, it is proper to stop, to take a pause after every discourse marker, so that the importance of the discourse marker, their communicative function is well performed. Say for example, as you pause before a discourse marker, like of course. Okay, somebody asks you, is this a piece of research? And you can jolly well say, no, it is not. Your no can be a phrase by itself. You can say, no, it is not. Similarly, meaning groups, words that together make one meaning group. Say for example, if you say a woman without her man is nothing. Okay, but if you cannot just say a woman without her man, then they don't make sense. So you have, if you think the woman without man is important, then you say a woman, second sentence, a woman without her man is nothing. But if you think man is more important, then you say a woman without her man is nothing. Okay, it no longer remains criticism, it no longer remains a compliment. Okay, similar thing here, a woman without her man, without her husband, without her man is nothing. You can also say a woman without her man is nothing. So on the whole we agree that it is not that pauses come randomly, they come to indicate a particular syntactic and semantic unit, a unit of a sentence that is syntactic, a unit of meaning that is semantic unit. Okay, let's go. Finally, one class of 45-50 minutes is not enough for you to learn. But the idea is we take pauses after phrase. What is a phrase? We have explained, we have seen. Now what you need is a lot of practice. Also listen to standard speakers. Compare them with the text that you may have, and you will see that it is not impossible to learn speaking in the same manner. Okay. given time, you can speak that way as well and be understood by everywhere, by any English speaking person in the world. Practice is the key. Thank you.